Thank you very much for the invitation. And so it's my kind of pleasure to have a chance to share with everyone about our journey in building AI era workforce. And because this is a higher kind of education institute, I also want to touch upon the topic of higher education in this evolving kind of role. It's evolving role in this AI era. So today, I will first briefly talk about the generative AI or Gen AI. This is kind of indeed defining a new era. And then the main topic of today's presentation is about the second topic. It's about a story, a journey about how in the past 2 years, I tried to build an AI age workforce in our department. And then briefly I will talk about and share something about the higher education's evolving role in this era. And finally, I will summarize it with some take-home message. So let's start with the first topic. So generative AI is indeed defining a new era. Generative AI, kind of at this moment, I mean, you can't go any day, go to the newspaper or any place without really reading something in the headline about generative AI. And it's why it's kind of like it's changing technology, culture, economics in every aspect. Just focus on the economic part. The AI drive U.S. economy activity with historical force in 2025. Just the 4 companies here, we list here, for this year, they are investing close to 400 billion in this area. Some people saying it's probably became a bubble, but some people saying because it's a special kind of situation, everything is justified. And in the first half of 2025, US investment account for 1.3% of US GDP. And indeed, 93% of US GDP growth. In other words, without AI, US economy is staying flat for this year. So almost everything behind the stock market, behind our daily kind of economic activity is about the generative AI. The massive investment rely on the promise of rapid and sustained productivity growth. So where we can expect the AI return on the investment, especially in the business domain. In everyday life, we all use ChatGPT. We benefit from that, but that is not the place where you can get money back. Most time you get money back from the business. So this is a kind of like I consider the generative AI ecosystem is like a human circulatory system. And you have some very top companies like OpenAI, like Anthropic, like Google, like Microsoft, Amazon. They are the service provider. They are just like a heart, the artery of the system. But that's not the place where you get the benefit from this circulatory system. And also, for example, in every company, they have their infrastructure, like an IT system. Like in our company, their IT provide all our internal access to all these AI service. They are also not creating value. What really creates value is in the individual application, like a place like our group. We literally apply this AI to a particular problem. For example, how to process the data faster with higher accuracy, all those things. And by doing that, we improve efficiency, we improve the quality of a result, and then speed up, for example, our drug R&D. And that's the moment where you get the value out of this AI. But this massive investment demands the return, not only exist the investment. That's the basic kind of calculation mathematics about get a positive return. But also you have to achieve this quickly. Right now they are spending hundreds of $1 billion on this data center. All those GPUs, generally speaking, they only last about 5 years. If you not get a return of these hundreds of billions of dollars in 5 years, all the investment still can be a loss. So both the amount of return and the speed of return become critical. I just kind of use this economic kind of a calculation to talk about the importance to get the benefit out of AI. But of course, from a human perspective, from a cultural perspective, from many other perspectives, you can also see there is a critical need to quickly see the benefit of this thing in the society while we are dumping $1 trillion on this topic. But unfortunately, there is something called a productivity paradox. What's the productivity paradox? So it's we see a lot of promise, the potential to get a productivity out of AI, but we are not seeing that in the numbers. A recent MIT report indeed kind of suggests, like the report was published in July. The report has a very bold statement that was cited across different newspapers like two or 3 months ago. Like everyone is citing this sentence, which is 95 of generative AI business initiative generated zero return. This is kind of the paradox. Basically kind of it's people consider this as one of the major risks for the current US economy. If the AI whole thing comes up as a failure, the US economy and many other things can follow that. But if you really look at the details of the report, for example, this MIT report, I read it's only 26 pages. You found this, they use this statistics, but the statistics is always covering some details. But once you examine the details, you constantly find one factor that decides the result of this AI investment. That factor is the people. This MIT report is literally showing that, and many other places you are showing the same concept. Constantly, it depends on the people in the trench to really react to this technology, and then to decide whether this whole investment, this whole AI economy can be a successful or bust. So today, I will share our journey in building an AI era workforce.